Bulls Nation, welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Weekly, and we've had a tremendous start to the regular season this week, but the challenges are still yet to come, and it all starts off within this next upcoming week for the Chicago Bulls. So without further ado, let's talk about our very solid start as well as the challenges ahead in this video. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a Chicago Bulls Weekly episode for you guys, discussing the previous week that we've just faced for the Chicago Bulls, our regular season's openings, as well as the upcoming week and the challenges that we're going to be facing in that week specifically. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls previous week and upcoming week. It's been a very good start to the season. It's been a very good start to life as a Bulls fan. I think many people are looking at the previous week's games, the 3 wins that we've had, 3-0, undefeated in the regular season, and I think many people are excited of how well the Chicago Bulls have played, while also trying to be a little bit more, neutral about the situation and maybe discussing some of the negatives that they've had as well. However, let's look at the results of all those games. The Chicago Bulls' first game against the Detroit Pistons away from home was a victory 94-88. This was a sensational start to the season, considering it was away from home at Detroit's home ground, and of course they were very pumped up for that game, and the Bulls had to weather the storm and had to get the victory in a very tough situation, to say the least, also with the referees kind of being a little bit biased in that way. No disrespect to the Pistons whatsoever in that area. Then we moved over to the New Orleans Pelicans, and this was by far the best game the Bulls played this week, where we beat the New Orleans Pelicans 128-112. In the end, it was a very sensational offensive night for the Bulls, and it showed in everybody's stats, it showed in the way that we played, and of course, the Pelicans did have a very good stretch of offense as well in that game, but the Bulls managed that game tremendously well. Moving over into the last game of the week, the Chicago Bulls just recently faced the Detroit Pistons at home, and we won this game 97-82. This was a game where the Bulls kind of allowed them to come back with a 17-0 run, but we were dominant from pretty much halfway through the first quarter into the fourth. We were dominant, we were the superior team, and we did what we were supposed to do. The Bulls went 3-0. This is a really important start to the season, not because of the teams that we versed. In fact, I feel like the teams that we versed are rather of the lower quality than the challenges we'll be facing in upcoming weeks. But last year, we saw a lot of oppositions that the Bulls saw as beatable. We were a team that could potentially make the playoffs, but we weren't guaranteed a spot, and in the end, we didn't get a spot. But we had a lot of oppositions that we probably should have beaten consistently that we failed to do, and that is a big reason why we missed the playoffs. So, winning these games against teams that we are supposed to beat, teams that people look at and say the Bulls need to beat these teams, we've gone out and done it. I actually came into this week expecting to win 2 games, not 3. And the fact that we have won 3 is exceptional stuff from the Bulls, but I don't think many people are too surprised by the games that we've won. It all comes down to the more challenging games that we do have in the upcoming weeks. But let's give the awards for the Chicago Bulls, the must improve, the 6th man of the week, and the player of the week for the Chicago Bulls. Moving into the must improve, I actually find it very difficult to give this award to anybody, and hence is the reason I don't think I'm going to give this award to anybody this week. The Bulls have been undefeated in the regular season. We've been undefeated in preseason as well. It's been a terrific start to life with the Chicago Bulls and being a Bulls fan. So I don't necessarily have an award to give for a negative term for the Bulls at the moment. Of course, when we start to lose games, or we start to see the Bulls kind of perform poorly in many ways. I know that we weren't at our best in all of these games, and it makes sense. Some players did get targeted out, and I did put must improves for game reactions, but as the total of the week, there were players that stepped up and players that dropped off within the week. So I don't want to give a must improve for this week, to be honest. And again, I might have to remove this in general if the Bulls are going to keep having solid weeks, because it's going to become harder and harder to pick must improve of the week every single week. Sixth man of the week. This is actually a pretty close one, considering we had three solid bench performers. We've had Alize Johnson, we've had Alex Caruso, we've had Javonte Green, and we've even had a little bit of a performance from Ayo Dosunmu as well. So it's a bit of a difficult one to give, but I would give it to Alex Caruso just because he has gotten the most minutes on the team, and he's by far been absolutely phenomenal as a Chicago Bull. In the beginning of this regular season, he's had tremendous games. Javonte Green is super close to this award as well, and he definitely deserves a lot of praise. And many people are actually trying to figure out if there is a way for him to potentially start these games. We'll have to wait and see down the line if that's a possibility. However, it is definitely interesting to see if the Chicago Bulls might have to change things up at another level with Javonte Green playing the way that he's playing. But Alex Caruso, in my opinion, is so vital for this team. He's been everywhere on this team, and he's going to get my sixth man of the week 2 times in a row. Which leads to the player of the week. This is also a difficult one, but I feel like Zach Lavine is going to get my player of the week as well. He got 32 points and 34 points respectively in the first 2 games. Of course, his last game against Detroit was very, very poor, to the extent that he was my must improve for that game reaction. However, I feel like the positives of Zach Lavine's performances outweigh the negatives, and there has not been consistent performances this week. You saw Lonzo Ball have an incredible triple-double performance, and he's also had a game where he's only had 1 assist. You also had DeMar DeRozan that had 21 points, 19 points, but not necessarily solid shooting. Vucevic is the same. He had good stats, but not effective shooting. Lavine was efficient in these 2 games where he dropped 30 points, and he kind of struggled against the Pistons this upcoming week. So you could basically give it to everybody. You could give it to anybody. Even Alex Caruso off of the bench. I feel like bench players often get snubbed from this award from me because they don't get a lot of minutes. But Alex Caruso by far has been a phenomenal player, and if anybody wanted to give it to him, I would not complain whatsoever. But for me, it is Zach Lavine. Now let's move into the upcoming games. This is where the challenge begins for the Bulls. The next game is going to be away from home against the Toronto Raptors. As I mentioned in the game reaction, Pascal Siakam will not be playing this game. So the Chicago Bulls have an advantage there. But we must not take this team lightly because they have beaten the Boston Celtics. And I think many people can say Boston are a somewhat decent team this year with the players that they have. They have been fully healthy. So they just comfortably beat the Boston Celtics. And we cannot take any team lightly in the NBA, but especially teams that we're supposed to expect to win against, like the Raptors. No disrespect to the Raptors. We are probably the favorites in that game. We cannot take them lightly. We cannot take any team in the NBA lightly. So hopefully we can pull out a strong win away from home. And then the tough games. The New York Knicks is next after that. This is at the United Center. We're going to be seeing Derrick Rose come back to the United Center, and it's going to be a pretty interesting game to say the least. I believe this is also the Joakim Noah appreciation night because obviously he played for the Knicks and the Bulls, and makes very much big sense to have it on that night. So again, it's going to be a special night, that one, and hopefully the Bulls can pull out a victory for their season being at home, and obviously for Joakim Noah, who is going to be celebrated on that night. And then another difficult challenge against the Utah Jazz. Last season, we had really close games to the Utah Jazz, and Utah was one of the best teams in the NBA. And I've had respect for how well they played as a team throughout the entirety of their tenure last year. Although they didn't end up getting where they desired, in my opinion, they were one of the most complete teams. They played like a team, they moved like a team, they shot like a team. It was absolutely sensational sometimes watching the way the Utah Jazz played. This is going to be a big test for the Bulls, and not to mention we could potentially learn a thing or two with the Utah Jazz coming in, because as good as our team chemistry is, there's always room for improvement. And watching how other teams play with their chemistry, and especially teams that do like to play like teams and it's not just isolation players, then that's when you get to learn a thing or two from other teams, implement it into your own game. So I'm really looking forward to that Utah Jazz game, because I really think it's going to be a sensational one. I think it's going to be a fantastic game, competitive game, close game, but also not to mention a game the Bulls can learn a lot from as well. That's the upcoming week for the Chicago Bulls. Our challenges start here. It's not over, ladies and gentlemen. Just because we are undefeated does not mean that there's not challenges coming ahead. We have a really tough schedule, and don't even get me started after this week. We have a really strong schedule, the Bulls have. So we must take advantage of the games that we expected to win, and also we're going to have to pull out a few very tough, close victories against really good teams. And this is what good teams do. Good teams beat good teams while also taking advantage of the weaker sides. And if we're going to be that team that makes the playoffs, make the top seeds in the NBA, we need to take advantage of some of these games. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Have a wonderful and safe day, Bulls Nation. Hopefully you enjoyed the weekly episode, and I'll see you next week if you watch these every single week. If not, there are more videos to come every day, and I will be talking to you in another video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.